Are minigames fun little distractions or the downfall of a great game? Well, apparently some people think that they are the apocalypse.
Woo, a housing system incoming? Please vote for this. Downvote. My downvote doesn't matter because this is upvoted so hard.
And I wish I was exaggerating, but no. A single survey question in the Wuthering Waves Twitter community triggered an all-out war. Because of course it did. For those who don't know, minigames are exactly what they sound like. Small, self-contained activities within a bigger game. You've seen them before. Fishing, racing, matching tiles, or whatever developers throw in to break up the main gameplay. Usually they're just fun side content, but according to some players, the mere suggestion of them in Wuthering Waves is a threat to everything the game stands for.
Just go play Genshin Impact. Get the fuck out of my game, bro. Go play the game that was made for you, which is a casual slop fest of a bunch of worthless content. Go play that, man. Why you gotta add a bunch of trash to my game, bro?
Now, normally, this would just be an overreaction on social media, which, let's be honest, is an everyday occurrence. But this debate actually touches on something bigger. What role should minigames even play in a game like Wuthering Waves? Do they add variety, or are they just useless fluff? Let's break it all down. Alright, let's be real. Minigames are very far from being the heart and soul of a game. If anything, they are like an adrenaline shot. Brief, exciting, and sometimes unnecessary, but they can spice things up when the main experience starts feeling repetitive. In live service games, the name of the game is longevity. These games survive by keeping players engaged over months or even years. And what actually keeps players coming back is the good gameplay, rewarding progression, and consistent updates. Minigames, they are more like a seasoning, not the main dish. That is not to say they don't serve a purpose. Minigames add variety, provide quick dopamine hits, and give players a reason to log in outside of the usual grind. But if the core gameplay sucks, no amount of minigames will save it. You are not going to stick around just because the game has a tower defense mode if the actual combat feels like you're fighting with pool noodles. Do minigames matter in a live service game? Sure, but they are not the foundation. They are not going to make or break Wuthering Waves.
Join me on this voyage to the world's end, my friend. Together we'll face that fleeting moment when the world turns upside down.
Now, Wuthering Waves itself is a fantastic game. Great combat, solid story, and characters that might make you feel like you want to spend more money that you don't have. Please spend responsibly. The devs have been actively improving it, fixing issues, and actually listening to player feedback. Sounds great, right? Well, apparently all of that is now at risk because of a survey question. Yes, in the 2.1 survey, the devs casually asked players if they like a new permanent minigame. No commitments, no sneak peeks, just a simple "would you be interested?" And in response, Twitter lost its collective mind. Enter one of the hottest takes of the week. Please don't vote for minigames at WUWA. It will ruin the game. Now, if you think that was a good take, bro got ratioed into another dimension. Harder than 𝗖cie getting ratioed in his own song. Safe to say that both of these people are in the thick of it. No? People were absolutely cooking this guy, and for a good reason. Because how exactly does a minigame ruin an entire action RPG? Like, will your resonators suddenly forget how to fight because they spent 5 minutes playing Sims? Be so for real right now, lil bro. And just like that, the minigame discourse turned into an all-out war. On one side, you got the combat purists. Wuthering Waves is a combat game. Minigames are pointless. This isn't Genshin.
You go play those easy baby games, okay? Let me just play a game where I get to just enjoy combat for hours, all right?
On the other side, you got the variety enjoyers. Minigames and housing don't hurt combat. They just add more things to do. Ain't nobody want to sweat over tower adversity and holograms 24/7. And here's the reality check. Most Wuthering Waves players aren't hardcore min-max tryhards. They are most likely not down to whimper out all the waste, if you know what I mean. A massive chunk of the player base is here for the world, the lore, and let's be real, the characters. Some people don't even touch tower adversity or holograms, and they're still having a great time. Ignoring these players would be a bad move. Adding optional content like minigames doesn't take away from combat. If anything, it keeps more players engaged, which you know helps the game stay alive. But if you ever wondered why people are getting irrationally angry and worried about the new minigames in Wuthering Waves, it's probably because of the mental baggage left by the minigames in Genshin Impact.
So is it like a TCG? Oh my god, dude. If they add a TCG to Wuthering Waves, I think I'm uninstalling, bro. I think that might be where I draw the line. If they add a TCG to Wuthering Waves, like, I don't think I can handle it.
Genshin's TCG might be one of the worst implementations of a side mode in a live service game. Not because of the game itself is bad. Some people genuinely enjoy it, sure, but because of how aggressively it was shoved into the experience. The mandatory tutorial was a slog, and early players who bounced off of it never looked back. Even though Hoyoverse improved some of the onboarding later, first impressions matter, and those were rough. The biggest issue issue is that it feels like it doesn't belong. People argue that TCG drains resources from the actual game, taking the developers' time away from things that could improve core content. And since some missions force you to play it, completionists are stuck suffering through a minigame they never wanted. And even if you grind it out, what do you get? No meaningful Primogem rewards after the initial missions, just lucky coins, which you can only use inside the TCG ecosystem. No connection to the rest of the game. No real incentive to keep playing unless you really love card games. And even for those who do, unlocking cards is slow and tedious, requiring hours of dueling NPCs just to get the deck you actually want. This is the perfect example of a minigame that doesn't respect the player's time. Instead of being an optional rewarding break from the main game, it ends up feeling like a chore, one that still lingers in players' mind every time another gacha game tries to add a side mode. But even so, not all minigames are bad. Of course, like we discussed, some might be absolute disasters, but others can be shockingly fun. Take the fishing event in Wuthering Waves. Somehow, against all odds, they made fishing fun. No obnoxious mechanics, no pointless waiting, just a well-made system that made people actually want to engage with it. It's not just there to waste your time. It is rewarding, smooth, and I dare say, enjoyable. And there's the co-op racing event, an absolute masterclass in controlled chaos. The course design is well made, the controls are pretty solid, but the best part, you can sabotage your friends. That's right, you're not just racing, you're actively trying to ruin each other's lives. It's the kind of game mode that will either create unbreakable alliances or irreparable grudges. And honestly, that's what makes it so fun. And that is the difference. Wuthering Waves doesn't just throw in random minigames as filler, they do actually work. They are fun, engaging, and sometimes absolutely hilarious. So the next time someone claims minigames ruin a game, just point them to Wuthering Waves and watch them completely contradict themselves.
I'm probably spending more money than these dumbasses too, okay? I got a bigger share in the company than them. So what the hell are these people contributing?
And just like how players want more minigames, tower defense, racing, shooting events, some of you might want more of me. That's right, this video is supported by you, the real MVPs who support the channel through memberships and donations. You guys get exclusive videos, behind the scenes content, and maybe some unfiltered takes that I wouldn't dare post publicly. And if you're feeling extra generous, there is a Streamlabs donation link in the description. Every bit goes toward making this channel even better. And more importantly, toward funding one of my dream goals, my very own VTuber model. If you want to help bring that to life, I would be insanely grateful. But here's the harsh truth for the combat purists. Casual players are the majority in literally every game. That is not an insult, that's just math. And listen, no war, just facts. Some people play because their friends do it. They log in, do a few dailies, maybe they will spend their energy if they're feeling adventurous and then dip. Some people are here for the co-op e-dating. Yes, we see you standing in-game with your e-girl. No, you're not slick. I see you completely. And let's not forget the waifu or husbando collectors. You think they care about the combat meta? They're here for the trip, and honestly, I respect it. Here's why this matters. Appealing to casual players is what keeps a live service game alive. More casual engagement equals more revenue equals more content. But if you only cater to hardcore players, the second they get bored, your game collapses. So sure, minigames aren't for everyone, but neither is sweating through endgame content like it's the Olympics of damage rotations. Balance matters and variety keeps people playing.
Would be nice to have a housing system in-game. No, it wouldn't. What if we can display our waifus? I'm just so against this kind of thing. You play a game for one or two things, and then they start adding a bunch of things that have nothing to do with the reason why you play the game.
One of the most requested features in Wuthering Waves is a housing system. And before anyone starts foaming at the mouth about wasted dev resources,
yeah, you're taking the dev time from something that could actually be meaningful, and you're putting it into crap.
Let's look at a game that actually did it well. Punishing Grey Raven. BGR's dorm system isn't just some useless side feature. It lets players house and interact with their characters. You know, the ones you just spent weeks grinding for. Instead of letting them rot in the menu, you actually get to see them exist outside of combat. And before anyone complains about the visuals, whether you think it looks good or not is completely subjective. What is not subjective is that it's actually useful. The system ties into the character growth, offers free cosmetics like skins, and even gives out a meta-relevant 5-star character. So yes, you do kind of have to engage with it if you want said meta 5-star character. But here's the good part. It is quick, it's easy to manage, and it doesn't drag out your playtime. You're not stuck grinding furniture or dealing with clunky systems. You're just here to log in, do what's needed, and get your rewards. Whether you care about decorating or not, the incentives make it worth your time. Listen, not every part of a game has to appeal to you specific. Just because you don't like minigames or housing doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means they're not for you. Shocking concept, I know. A good game caters to different types of players. Some people are here to sweat through endgame challenges. Others just want to kick back and enjoy their virtual home filled with their waifus and husbandos. Both groups can exist in peace. Crazy, right? And let's be real, if a feature doesn't appeal to you, just ignore it. You're not being forced at gunpoint to engage with minigames or decorate an apartment. But for the people who enjoy that stuff, it makes the game better for them, which means they will stick around longer, which benefits everyone. And on that note, if Wuthering Waves adds a dorm system, I will be decorating mine like a nut root, and you will not stop me.
I can't tell if you're baiting or not, but it's good content. I'm gonna be real. Everything I'm saying, I actually do believe, though. Like, I'm kind of just, you know, going overboard right now on this rant, but at the same time, I actually completely believe everything I'm saying.